Right, hello everyone, welcome to Tactica, Imperialis and to today's video. Today is going to be another of our live streams working on the Altar of Khaine conversion project. This is going to be part 3 of the painting. We actually had a part before that where we did the building, but we're on to part 3 of the painting, and we're going to be working today on finishing off the Avatar of Khaine. And hopefully, because I'm on to the highlight stage of that, we might get a bit more done with some of the other components. So we've got plenty to be getting on with, as always, and I look forward to working on this and getting your input from chat. If you would like to join the channel Discord server, the link will be coming around in chat, and I believe that if I publish the stream fast enough and I don't have any issues with it, then that link will still be valid in the VOD for a very short period of time. Depends on how long it takes me to get the stream out. So, to update people on where we got to, because I've had to do a little bit off screen to get to where we are. So, at the end of the last stream, we had done the base coat for the Avatar of Khaine that was going to sit on our Altar of Khaine conversion. As a reminder, the conversion looked something like this. This is a Photoshop that was done by Kaz, one of our viewers. They made a Photoshop sort of mock-up of what we were going for, though I have followed a different paint scheme. And at the end of the stream, we were working on the avatar that was stood on that altar. And because of complexities involving the washes, I decided to do those washes off screen. So here is where we are. So that's a photo I took the following morning after I'd finished off the washes on the avatar. So what I've gone for is a jade marble-like effect for the body with a blood red metal for the armor. So the armor is lead belcher with 2 coats of watered down blood for the blood god as a wash rather than Carroburg Crimson. We did a lot of experimentation last stream to get what we wanted, and the trim for it is in Retributor armor washed with Carroburg Crimson. The actual jade green is Caliban green washed with Druchii violet, and I anticipate that being the biggest challenge for this section because I've got, if I remember correctly, something like 3 or 4 layers of highlights to build up to get to the desired sort of effect, and hopefully we'll get that effect by the end of the stream. I also need to finish off highlights on the sword, on the armor trim. I'm not expecting that I'll actually add to the armor itself because that would sort of ruin the metallic effect to paint a non-metallic paint over it, and edge highlighting it might sort of get rid of the effect as well. So I'm going to leave the armor sections alone as far as I can. So that's everyone up to date on what we're doing and where we're going. I'm hoping also that we'll have some good discussions about one thing or another. I'll try and do a few of those trivia questions that people seem to quite enjoy last couple of streams, but we have plenty to get on with, so hopefully we are rocking and rolling and ready to go. We've got 9 people here at the moment, which is lovely to see. It's a Tuesday, it's the middle of the week now, so I appreciate that not everyone is as around as they were on Sunday, where we had more up towards the 20s, but that's absolutely fine. So let's begin. Blue tack. First job, get the blue tack off of everything, because hopefully tonight, if I can get the avatar finished, I'm going to work on the white Hessian stone of the altar, and then once that's done I'll be able to stick the avatar to the altar, though I'm not sure I'll stick this component to the actual altar itself to allow me to use it as a separate terrain piece or an objective marker or something like that in other games. So I might mix it up a little bit and not stick that down. But, whoa, God, my hands are all over the place. I've just slapped my blue tack and the avatar around. Anyway, so for the avatar, as I said earlier, we're going to be working predominantly on the green. My plan, since I had it built from Caliban green and washed with Druchii violet, is to have a layer of Caliban green again, avoiding the recesses. And then I was going to do through a couple of dry brushes up towards my brighter greens, so Elysian green and Ogre camo, and I might, depending on how we're going, add a few very faint streaks of yellow to add to that marble-like effect as well. At least that was the recommendations I got on the previous stream. Have I done all my washes? Yes, I have. So let's get you. Just need to get the right brush. And we're in business. So how's everyone doing this evening? I realise I've been talking for a good few minutes. How are people doing? Enjoying the absolutely stonking, redonkulous heat wave that continues to spread across the UK and is causing all sorts of fun. I've built so much furniture over the past couple of weeks. Most of it has been in this stonking heat and it's not been fun particularly, but I did get, of all things, a filing cabinet built last night, so my office is really coming together, though none of that you can really see on camera, but I have got some more last bits of furniture, mostly including an upgrade to my chair, because I'm currently borrowing one of my dining chairs to sit in this office, so I'm going to get a proper office chair to sit on going forward, but that's got to arrive. Yeah, got a few people who made it pretty early. We're just getting started with the painting. I've introduced a few things, so if you need to wind back the stream a couple of minutes just to get an explanation on what I'm doing, then you can do that. Okay. Law of physics question to see how much I've messed up with the logic of my conversion. I've replaced the wheels of my Outriders with grav plates. I'd heard about that, and replaced a big one in the back and a smaller one on the front, because I thought that since what it does is provide lift energy, the big one in the back would also provide forward momentum. Obviously, anti-grav technology is not real. Should caveat first that the only anti-grav we really have is like monorail systems and magnetics. But you would be right in that if the grav plates themselves are providing a force to, it's rather than energy, they're providing a force to lift the bike off the ground, you would be correct that that force would act outward from the plate, and so having a larger plate at the back to provide forward momentum, or a separate plate at the back to provide forward momentum, would make a modicum of sense, I think. Got an old Black Reach era Orc War biker. I mean, to be fair, the Orc War bikers from the Black Reach era of 5th edition are the same Orc bikers we have today. It's the same War biker kit since 4th edition. They never updated it. Admittedly, they added the new buggies, like the Death Killer War Trike and stuff, but the actual bikers kit hasn't changed in that long. So yeah, I can understand them being adorably tiny compared to some of the modern Orc kits. I can definitely see that. A hovercraft model conversion. I am not the one to ask about that. Like, my conversion skills has gone to, well, I've barely done any conversion. I've done a kit bash really for this altar. Conversion's probably pushing the limits of what it actually is, since, you know, I've just swapped out one piece for one altar topping piece for another and rearranged some pillars. The rest of it's actually been painting. Oh, I know what you mean, like the Orc itself is small, I don't disagree, but the kit itself is old, so it doesn't surprise me that the Orc is also small. That's what I mean. Like, I don't disagree that, yes, the Orc is tiny, but that's a side effect of the kit being old, and it's the same kit we have today, as I say. A couple of mods, which is great. There'll be keeping an eye on things for me while I've got my head down. If you want to join the Discord as well, the link's gone out in chat already. I know a lot of people are already in the Discord, and to those people I say welcome and thank you very much for joining us. At the moment I'm actually in a voice call in the Discord, and people who are watching are welcome to sort of listen in and chip in there, though I will caveat that by I much prefer watching people chat in chat because it makes things more comprehensible for those who are not. So just as a caveat, I suppose. But if you want to join the Discord, you are more than welcome to do so. We've done snarkathons during the lockdown period. We've got showcase sections, rules discussions, a spoilers discussion. We do regular voice chats as well, and I'm quite often in those if I'm hobbying on not this project, because this is a stream exclusive project, with the exception of the washes I did off screen because they took me like an hour. Oh good, and now the mods are memeing each other. So the Terminators are going to get 3 wounds. I heard about this. No, don't put your paint in your actual drink, you idiot. Good. You know, I remember bragging to one of the people in voice chat that I never get my drink and my water pot mixed up because they're in different coloured cups, and I never get them mixed up, and then I almost do it. But yes, I had heard about this Terminator datasheet update that they were going up to 3 wounds, which given Primaris have got 2 wounds, honestly I welcome it. I think it's a good move, but the other elite troops in other armies, such as Chaos Terminators and Custodes, probably need to move to match them, just for the sake of balance. What are basic Custodes infantry? Because I feel like Custodes should be on the level of Astartes Terminators, so a 3rd wound wouldn't hurt them. I'm told the Alaris are slightly more wounds again, but here we are. So in almost all sci-fi universe there are ship battles that are within the gravitational pull of a planet, but we always never see this. Well, yeah, it's a lot to write about, but we do see the occasional effect of ship crashes. Oh, excuse me. But generally not the debris of a conflict, because generally the battle happens in space, and then there's a battle on the planet side, so we don't see the two happening simultaneously very often. It does happen, but we don't see it that often. Good point. There was also the Planet Strike expansion where you did have these sorts of things like laser burn and crash debris, but that was, to be fair, Planet Strike is at least 2 years old, 2 editions old now, because it was, I think, last in 7th, maybe even early, because it was introduced in 5th, I recall. Yeah, Cadia had a blooming Blackstone Fortress wreck crashed into it, so yeah, Cadia had a lot of damage. Heavy Flame is 12 inches. That's a buff. That's a big buff, and that makes some tanks really scary. Interesting. Since the Azir app is way better, what it gives the price than the 340k app, do you think they'll strip out functionalities from Azir and increase the price? I think more than likely they'll try and get the features of the 40k app to match up with Azir. But bear in mind that the AOS game system is less complex than the 40k game system. So unit upgrades are not done model by model. In fact, unit upgrades are barely a thing at all. Character upgrades are barely a thing. You just select one weapon option at most, whereas a Space Marine Captain, say, has 2 different armor options, 4 different melee weapons, 6 different guns. It's actually more like 8 melee options now that I think about it. So you've got way more options in 40k, so they could probably keep the price of Azir down relative to the 40k app, but I wouldn't like to put total stock in that. We're not sure. We will see. Oh yeah, Azir is also the army builder bit rather than the whole app. That's a good point as well, because the AOS app where you get the actual rules is free, unless you pay for access to like the battle turn rules or whatever. Ooh, that's bad. Where's my silver? No, seriously, where's my silver? No idea. You have to ask him. Rowan and Ben are making different means about what the Inquisition is doing. So we've gone through watching, dabbing, Fortnite dancing. So God knows with those two. So I'm just going to do a quick, while I wait for that Caliban green to dry, I'm just going to do a quick highlight on the silver of the edges of the sword and things like that. So I'm just going to do that quickly whilst I wait. So we compare that for £1 Azir gives you access to the rules. Not quite. You get the rules for free. As I say, you get the core rules for free. I don't know about Battletome specific rules that you have to pay for those separately. I don't know if they come with Azir. But yeah, I take your point versus what 40k's app currently gives you. It will be one to watch. I definitely agree you've got a point there, and it will be one to watch as to what they do with Azir now relative to the 40k app. Because, well, Azir is really good, even if I don't use it particularly. It is very warm and it's very, as we say, muggy because it's very humid. It's very still. So I'll show you what I did one more time on screen. So this is where I got to after last week's stream. I also did the washes off screen because they took me like an hour to get the blood for the blood god just right. So that's where we got up to. At the moment, I'm just highlighting the green and I've just highlighted the silver, and I'm going to highlight the green some more and then do the gold as well as bits of the like red hair and the red heart as well. So that's where we got up to before. You pay the £1 subscription, it gives you the rules of the Battletome regardless of owning the books. Okay, I didn't know that because I haven't bought it. But yeah, Azir's value is very good. Right, challenging bit. Does it not? Right, okay, so apparently you don't get the books if you buy Azir. You have to buy the books separately. Okay, so tricky bit. I've got to do and build up a few layers of green now, and I think I'm going to do it via dry brushing. So if I've got this right, what I need to do is dry brush over the raised areas of my avatar. Shut up, chat page. I need to dry brush the raised areas and with a lighter green, then do it again, and then add in yellow like cracked lines to represent the marbled effect is what I believe I have to do. But I'm willing to be corrected. You don't get the books, but you get the rules and the price points for them and the battalions, apparently. But you don't get the rules for the battalions. Oh, right. So yeah, you can build an army with the battalions and the army rules. Yes, if you know them. So if you own the paper book, Azir will do everything you need. But if you want to do everything in Azir, you have to buy the book separately. Have I got that right now? Okay. Have you ever seen 40k Xenozoology series? I've seen bits of it, but I don't remember all off the top of my head. But yes, Necromunda is weird. Necromunda is very weird. I wouldn't say Malkador was fine after being slapped down by Lorgar, but certainly he's got his own set of modifications, whether genetic or engineered. Malkador is definitely not all that he appears to be. Right, Elysian Green. I'm going to be honest, I've come to kind of hate dry brushing a little bit because I kind of suck at it. So I'm going to get my actual dry brush for this, because I do have a dry brush, but it's not particularly accurate, so this could go wrong. It is. It's a small dry brush. You can also use stippling. Oh, I'm even worse at that. Never tried stippling particularly. Never really got in the habit. It's mainly just an accuracy issue. It's not an issue of I can't do it. It's just can I do it accurately. So, here goes something. Nope, that's too loaded. Still too loaded on the brush. Yeah, no, I could have got a tissue for it, or a piece of kitchen roll. It's normally what I would do, I just didn't have one to hand. I'd already loaded the brush, so I just used the lid of the pot, which was thankfully quite clear. Okay, this isn't going badly. Haven't gone too far into the recesses, which is the objective. Avoid the recesses, because you need to build up the layers. Stipple that. Did you see the article, The New Daughters of Khaine warband? I did. Now, I'll be honest, I don't play Underworlds, but reading over their rules very quickly, from what little I understand, it does seem that they play very much like they do in the base game. That is, they move fast, they hit stupid hard, but they need a bit of time to wind up, as it were. Because on turn 3, they all become inspired automatically, which means that they get a big buff, either to movement, damage, abilities, depends on what the card is, really. So that's kind of like in 40k, in AOS, where the Daughters of Khaine just need a bit of time to wind up and get their Rites of Blood going. And then they become utterly stupid. Not that they aren't already a bit utterly stupid at times, but I think thematically they've got them right. The miniatures are gorgeous. I love the miniatures for the Blade Coven, and I'm actually going to be using them on this conversion. I was going to make the Hag Queen into my priestess, who was going to stand in front of the altar, with the 2 witch elves acting as the guardians, and the Melisai just lurking in the back, and the Sister of Slaughter like leaping off one of the broken pillars type thing. That was sort of what I wanted to do with them, because I'm never going to play Underworlds. It doesn't really appeal to me as a game system, but I love the miniatures that Shadespire, Beastgrave, etc. has, so I'll make use of them that way. But as for how they'll play and how good they are, I couldn't tell you. I'm not a Underworlds player. And in AOS, most Underworlds warbands that come across have a tendency to be a bit naff, because they're too small to really have much of an impact. The only one that really sees much play is the one that gets you a free blood tithe point in the form of a flesh hound. Okay, so that's that done. Actually gone quite well. I still feel like I'm painting the frigging green goblin, but here we are. Right, I'm going to catch up with chat now. Where was I? Have you cried at any Warhammer books? No, it's been close a couple of times. I won't lie, it's been close. The Devastation of Baal, right towards the end of that book, actually nearly got me. When I was reading about Dante's sacrifice and the dream sequence with Sanguinius, that nearly got me. I won't lie, that nearly got me. Otherwise, no. But I do remember getting a little bit choked up at the Farsight Enclave story the first time because I was reading it out loud for a video. One of my first ever lore videos actually, and I remember I did get a little bit choked up toward the end, but I held that back. So the answer is no, but it's been close. You plan to do AOS lore? I've answered this before a few times, and the answer is no, I'm not, because A, there are people who do it better, and B, I don't have time to run 2 lore series in parallel. I barely have time to keep up with 40k stories, and that's why it takes such long hiatuses when I go to into work. But AOS lore, I always recommend 2+ Tough. I know Oculus Imperia has done bits as well, and I know there are other YouTubers out there you can look at to do their AOS lore, and you also look at some of the fantasy lore to tie the races like the Seraphon, the Skaven, the Beasts of Chaos back a little bit if you wanted to. What do you think of strength and toughness versus AOS's flat to wound? It's just a different approach. I think the 40k system is more realistic, obviously, because why should that lasgun be able to hurt that battle tank? But at the same time, just having, okay, here's the hit roll, here's the wound roll, speeds up the process 100-fold. And it was the same when 40k moved over from the weapon skill system, where you compared weapon skills and rolled, to the flat to hit roll system. No one seems to have been particularly annoyed at that shift, that yes, an orc boy always hits on a 3+ unless a certain set of modifiers are in play. That just seems to be okay with people. I know it's not true for everyone, but that system has seemed to be okay. So going a bit further to the AOS system, where the wound roll does the same, I think it's different, and I think it's less realistic, but it still works as a game mechanic. And armies are inherently squishier in AOS. They have worse armor, they have worse, sort of a similar amount of wounds, but generally worse armor. Like a Stormcaster's got a 4-up save, as opposed to a 3-up for a Space Marine, but they do have 2 wounds. So AOS is designed for armies to be a little bit squishier, so it kind of works. I'm not saying which is better, but I don't think there's a problem with it. Am I Alfarius? No. Loot boxes. You can go and watch the video that came out yesterday. I did a video on the supply drops. I recorded it during one of my streams last week, and the VOD of that, the cut down segment, is now on the channel. So if you go onto the channel as an upload before this one, you can go back and have a look at that. That's my thoughts on the Warhammer supply drops. Because I did sort of I did call them loot boxes, though loot crate might have been the better term because of the way they work. Oh, hey Scarlett. Fancy seeing you here. Because I know Snipe and Wib are having a stream tonight as well, so I appreciate there's probably some people over there right now. I appreciate that. But hey, welcome. Good to see you. Right. Thoughts on 3D printing? It is not at the level it needs to be to replace GW. Ever. It might get there one day and GW might go over to it, but I don't think it's there yet. I think it's a nice idea, but I would never use it to replace the actual model kits themselves. Like custom upgrade sprues, that's one thing. Custom terrain designs, that's another thing. Custom miniatures and custom armies, where you design them and print them yourselves, I have more of a problem with, and I definitely think that it shouldn't replace GW's design process unless GW can get their own 3D printing setup good enough. So yeah. So what I mean is, did you hear what some people's got? Like one guy got a Blame Blade and a bunch of guard stuff. That's because it depended on region. So I believe the different Space Marine characters was the Italian loot box, the supply drop, and the Baneblade is the UK supply drop. So it's different by region as to what you got. So that's why that's the case. But yes, you can see that some countries have got better RNG than others, it appears. Okay. But of course, obviously, until people have got their unboxings out there and they've actually shipped, people have opened them up and we've seen the evidence of what's what where, then I think we can't be 100% on anything. It's a fair point that just popped up in my ear. Favorite Chaos Force as of the most recent lore? Well, the one I know best is the Thousand Suns. But I always have had a soft spot for the Red Corsairs. I started playing Warhammer, I've always quite liked the Red Corsairs. So they're probably my favourites. But admittedly, they've sort of taken a back seat to some of the Legions at the moment. As someone who has a 3D printer and uses it to create custom stuff, the fact you have to work with seriously dangerous chemicals and learn a skill to print it successfully, not replacing GW. I agree. But obviously there are people who can... there are sort of people who will do that for you as well, which is a point to consider. But yeah, I don't think GW is going to go anywhere on their design process. And if 3D printing is good enough to replace them, then they'll do it themselves and go over to 3D printing themselves. So it will all balance out in the end. Because someone's got to design the armies, bear in mind. Someone's actually got to make them and design them. So the army for Daughters of Khaine, someone's got to design the Melicite kits for someone to then create a separate 3D sculpt to print. So I still think GW has their place either way. Right, I'm going to get my slightly thinner brush out now. I'm going to do the second dry brush. So I'm going to do Ogre Camo, which is my brightest green. And I'm going to use this very sparingly. So here's where we are at the moment. Actually, I just need to move my light a little bit. Hold the phone. So that's where we are at the moment. We put the first couple of highlights on the green, and I'm going to do the last dry brush on that, and then I might add some yellow streaks depending on how that might look. So I just need to move my lamp back into position because it's quite hot. Looking at GWs Workflow, they've got 3D designs and CAD building and injection molds. Yeah, I get that. I can't say I know the process well enough, but it does seem like GW are in a good spot on the design front at the very least. You pray for an official store in Mexico. There isn't one? Well, fair enough. Yeah, that's not ideal if you've got to pay all the imports or go independent. Now, normally, independents in the UK are the same price, if not slightly cheaper than GW, because sometimes they can get a discount for buying in bulk. But generally, you don't lose out with an independent, aside from having to get things ordered in, because they might not have all the stock. At which point, yeah, you're paying the import tax. So, ouch. I hope you do get a store. And hopefully with the continued growth with GW as a business, they'll be able to expand into new territories, provided there's a demand in the region for Warhammer to open a store. Because you've got to think about, yeah, it'd be great to have a store, but is that store commercially viable? Can they afford to pay the rent and break even in that particular region? Ouch. Similar to Australian prices, and we've got people who live that side of the world, and I know that their prices are pretty dang awful. Okay. More stores in the US. I get that. A full England's travel to go to G-Dubs. Ouch. I suppose that the American market has been growing. I know they opened up the Warhammer Citadel in Texas, but obviously, yeah, that's down in the south as well. So yeah, that's not ideal. But hopefully, as I say, with the continued expansion and growth of the business financially and the success they've been having, they can continue to expand as long as, again, that commercial viability for a store is there and the store will not just be a massive loss maker. Too much, too much, too much. Red Corsairs did pretty nasty to White Scars during the Rift opening. Yeah, I'd heard about the invasion of Jagoris, but they certainly feel like the Red Corsairs have taken a slight bit of a back seat compared to like the Death Guard and who had the Plague Wars, and the Thousand Sons had Ritual of the Damned. It just feels like the Red Corsairs are, they're still there and they're still a threat, but they're not the main event, as it were, I would say. And of course there is the Black Legion as well, who do, you know, friggin' everything. Because Abby is a busy boy. Cheaper to drive to Arkansas and fly. Yeah, I've heard about that. And that's the same as sometimes in the UK, is that you want to go certain places. I remember there was a story of a guy who had to go to a business meeting, and it was cheaper to fly to Poland and back than it was to drive from London, or some nonsense like that. That was it. Berlin to Scotland, not Poland, sorry. Okay, I think that has done its job. Okay. Yeah, as far as I recall, the White Scars were pulled out of Damocles because of an invasion of Jagoris toward the end of 7th edition by the Red Corsairs, as I recall. The avatar painting is going well. I've just done 3 sets of highlights to the green. So if I just pull that just up to screen. In fact, I'm going to take a separate photo and put that into the stream. So give me a minute while I do that, just so you can see where we are. Is 9th edition the edition which will see either Emperor's Children or World Eaters? I am not holding out hope, but I think if we're going to see one, it would probably be the Emperor's Children and Fulgrim before Angron and the World Eaters. That's my personal thought on that. I'd like to say that we'll see them, but we've also got to consider that, you know, does Chaos Space Marines really need 4 Primarchs in its codex? Or 4 separate sub-factions and sub-armies when the main Chaos Codex is already kind of weak? Like, why not just fix the main codex? Right. Photograph that. So I'm just going to ping this across, and then we'll put it. I'll put it on screen for you, everyone. Sorry, just bear with me. Aren't the White Scars a little worried that the tribesmen may be corrupted? I believe that's fair. I can't remember the exact logic, but obviously losing your home world is losing your home world, and you don't want that. Come on. Come on. Come on. This 12-year-old kid got a Tau Manta, which cost 2,000 in the UK, by the way. Bragged about how it was professionally painted, and one day they dripped and dropped it. Oh. Ouch. Seriously, ouch. Yeah, Manta is £2,000, isn't it? I'm pretty sure. Is it only £1,000? I thought it was £2,000. Oh, 1,100, not £2,000. Okay, sorry. Don't know where I got £2,000, but maybe it's 2K in USD rather than GBP. Apologies. Right. Okay, screen might go a little bit laggy just while I set this up. So bear with me, because I'm just fiddling with some settings to get this image on screen for you. Okay, is that done what I wanted it to do? Yes, it has. Yes, it has. Right. I'll close that. Sorry about this. Just trying to upload new things is not something that you like to do when you're midstream. But we'll get there. We're getting there. So this is where we are. So there's just a better image of the avatar. You see the green highlights. There's a layer of Caliban green, and then 2 dry brushes of Elysian green and Ogren camo. Just building up and building up and building up the layers. And apparently what I should do now is a little bit of yellow, but I'm not quite sure how I would go about doing that correctly. Whether it's just like painting lightning lines on it, or whether it's something else entirely. I'm not really an expert on that section. So that's where we are, just to give you an update for the first half an hour, 40 minutes of the stream. Thoughts on Noise Marines? The miniatures are out of date, but they're cool. They could do with an update, definitely. But then again, so do Khorne Berserkers. So both, I think that's the best reason of all to update the Emperor's Children and World Eaters, is get the Primarchs and sort out those basic troops because they're ancient. Excuse me. Yeah, you see what I mean about the Green Goblin? It's the face. Like, the face really reminds me of the Green Goblin. Don't know why, but it does. So I'm just going to do a couple of other highlights for like the reds and the golds just now. I mean, I don't believe any of the Emperor's Children's elite units made it across, but they could easily retcon them to have survived, like they did with adding in the Scarab Occult Terminators. They added Rubric Terminators for the Thousand Suns, so why wouldn't they add in Terminators for the Emperor's Children? Yeah, they might not be the Phoenix Guard, or whatever they were called, but I can certainly see them coming across in some form or another. Probably all armed with the Scream weapon, as well as blades. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Twin power swords and a dirge caster. There you go. That's what we give them, or whatever the sonic Scream weapon is that you can give to Noise Marines. Because I think the dirge caster is a vehicle upgrade. Now that I say it aloud. No worries, what you missed, I'll show you one more time, is that we updated the avatar. So I've done a few washes and I've done most of the highlighting now. I'm just finishing bits off. I might add another layer of like yellow to it, just some like yellow like lines on it, but I don't know if that's necessary to create this like marble jade effect. I'm sort of waiting for experts to give me some advice. Okay, that's all highlighted up. Okay, so I've just got the gold to do, and Doom Siren and a Relic Blade, esque melee weapon per Phoenix Guard. Yeah, I was sort of thinking of them having like the Doom Siren helms, and then having them with, instead of having them with Storm Bolters or Combi Bolters, they have like twin blades. Or something like that, but you might want to do something different that will make them have, instead of maybe the Doom Siren is for their champion, and you do give them, say, like a sonic pistol type thing, or like a one-handed Blastmaster or a one-handed Sonic Blaster or something like that. I don't know. Sonic Dreadnought, they exist. Sonic Dreadnoughts exist. I'm pretty sure that there's a demon engine for that. It's ancient and it's not in the codex, but I believe it exists, so they could update that. To create the effect, I think it's like a dull gem. So I think of painting elven gems, but with less contrast. Yeah, that assumes I'm good at painting elven gems. I just paint them like red or blue, and then give them a bit of hard coat if I can be bothered. I don't do anything special with my gemstones. I'm not that good. Help. Faster Enclave's best Tau? Correct. Starting to William Dafoe in my head when I see the avatar. Oh, we're never going to live this down, are we? Luckily, I don't play Gloomspite, so I don't have an Arachnarok Cauldron. Or an Arachnarok Spider, sorry. Nor am I making a hoverboard. No. 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 Sonic Dread have 8th Ed rules, that's the Forge World errata. Oh, okay, they do, so they exist. Good. But I mean, update the models at the very least. Then make a new one from scratch that works around the same concept. Okay, so I'm not going to go through the arduous pain of building up 4 layers on a shield. Okay, add a more defined highlight on the top areas and a tiny less obvious one on the opposite side of the same piece. That it emulates light bouncing underneath. Okay, so like edge highlight and then dab on the other side. Right. Right, I've got my Avalanche Sunset, which is the slightly duller yellow that I own. Oh, go bright. Okay, right, I've got Yo-Yo Yellow then. Probably split to all buggery, so it won't work. But... Sorry, this is the problem when you try and do something clever and realise that you suck at your job, at doing that job. So I'm sort of just improvising and getting help from chat. Then again, I suppose it gives chat something to do when I'm not making memes. Sorry, I'm going to keep that on screen so people don't get any ideas. Sonic Contemptors, that would be terrifying. Fun, but terrifying. Okay. Okay. Seems to be holding together. Actually, not a bad consistency, given it hasn't been used in years. Okay. Sorry, this is kind of focus mode now. I will get back to you, chat. I just have to get this part correct. Okay. I think I got what I was doing. Let me have a quick look at this reference that I've been sent. Okay, I got those. I got those. Didn't do that one. Okay, pretty much got those. It's just that one on the middle of the stomach I need to add. Sorry, like I say, I will get to you, chat. I just need to focus really hard to get this right because I don't want to screw it up on the last step. This is one of the finickiest things I've ever tried to do in painting. Too much. Okay, no more. Stop. Put it down. Put it down. Less is more. Put it down. Right. So, right. Sorry, I will catch up with you now, chat. What did I miss? Would anyone recommend putting small metal ball bearings in the paint to mix it? I have never heard of that as a concept, but chat would know better. So some people are saying yes, as long as it's stainless steel. Okay. When AOS gets their not dark elves, what do you think they'll look like? Well, we know we're getting shadow demons. Malerian has shadow demons confirmed. I don't think they're going to look that dark elvish at all, because the daughters are your dark elf faction, as you have the cities of Sigmar as well. So they don't need to stay true to the elves that much. So I think we'll probably see a mix of like things like the Tenebrae Shard, the Mistweaver Sai will be your elven type models, who are like blended with the shadows, and pure shadow demons as well as some more classic elven concepts like Reaper Bolt Throwers maybe. I definitely think we'll see winged creatures, but they've got to be careful not to tread on the Kinnerai Harpies too much. So it'll be interesting to see what they do, but I definitely think it will have a very strong theme with the shadow compared to the daughters who went down a blood elf kind of route. Thoughts on Darktide? I think it's going to be cool. I didn't play Vermintide, but I know it's very well regarded, so I think it'll be good. As long as they, make a good game, I think they'll be more than fine. More than fine. Want to blast Nurglings with a plasma gun at 3A? Why? Oh, Darktide, that's why. What would you want from a 40k animated series? It depends on how much creative license you're giving, because if you give an independent studio the right to make it, then they have to tell an established tale. That being something like the Horus Heresy, or they have to tell a tale that is in a timeline where it doesn't affect everything else. So the modern timeline. If you want to do the Great Crusade, then you need a GW writer at the helm to make sure that it stays canon compliant with the heresy, because otherwise people are going to assume that it's canon for the Great Crusade, and that breaks heresy continuity. Even if that's not what they're intending to do, if they do anything pre-heresy, then they'll have to keep it true to heresy continuity, which is a mess. So I think it would be most likely either a heresy retelling, with maybe some reimagined like set pieces from the books, or it would be a modern story that would fit within the current bounds of the lore without doing anything crazy, if you follow my sort of logic. So looking at the new map the GW's put up, when you look at the Tyranids, High Fleet Kraken is bigger than Leviathan. That's odd. Well, I think it covers all previous fleets. So Leviathan, remember, split into two. So Leviathan had one tendril that went for Baal, and the other that came under the galactic plane and is going for Sol. So Leviathan's kind of in two halves, if you think about it that way. And also remember that if it's about the modern timeline, Leviathan was broken by the devastation of Baal. So that's a point as well. The one on Octarius, I believe, is at a standstill because Gazgul just naffed off. I believe Gazgul just naffed off. Right, Avatar is done. Finito, molto bene, done. So, you can go over there for now. I will pop a full picture of that up on Twitter, finished off later. Maybe tomorrow, depends on how lazy I feel. So, we have a couple of options of what we do next. And I'm willing to use a little bit of good old chat democracy. So, I've got a couple of things I need to do to make the next stage on the temple. I either need to work on this stuff, the white Hessian stone, which will involve a lot of washes. So primarily Drakenhof Nightshade, maybe bits of Agrax Earthshade, but I don't think so. It'll be a very light tap of Drakenhof Nightshade and Null Oil in places, like in the recesses. That's all it will be. But there's a lot of it, and it will be painstakingly slow because of all the runes that are on the pillars. The other option is, if we look at one of these pillar pieces, we've got all the details that are on the side of the Ulgu purple stone. So we've got, so for example, these details that are on here, as well as the sort of actual fine details of the altar, which will also include the pool of blood that the avatar altar is going to sit in front of, or behind. So we've got two main things. We can either do lots of washing on the white stone, or all the details on the dark stone. I leave it up to chat to give their opinions on the matter. Blood Crusade showed up on Octarius and the Orcs and Nids went right for them. I must have missed that story. I don't remember there being any details of Octarius after Gazgul left. So apologies, I must have missed that detail. I think the reason that Horus is still mentioned relative to the Lost Primarchs is you can't get around what Horus did, and there was no way to wipe it from history the same way that the Lost Primarchs could be wiped from history because it was still the Imperium and only the Imperium. If they were exterminated and annihilated entirely, they could be wiped from the records. Horus died, but the traitor legions escaped. The Chaos Space Marines are a fact of life. And so it is also a cautionary tale of the Arc Traitor and what you can do with power as well. So I think that's why Horus's name has lived in the history books. Giving like a ghostly glow contrasted with super dark stone. I was going to actually have a look at what you've posted. Yeah, that's beyond me. So one of the things I was debating doing. Go away. One of the things I was thinking of doing was for the central like lions symbols, they were going to be gold, but this sort of trim I was going to do in like light grey, like rust grey, which is a slightly lighter grey than I used on the temple, which is something I could do to sort of add that ghostly glow type thing. But a lot of the detailing would end up being probably in gold or in silver, because that's just sort of the colours that would fit with what's on the temple. There's a lot of metallic bits on it. Horus makes a good lesson for the Imperium to teach a Space Marines about falling into chaos. Also that. Horus's name has to be remembered, and they also have to know what they're up against. So knowing that the Chaos Space Marines are led by the Black Legion under Abaddon the Despoiler, son of Horus, who was a Primarch, it's easier to pass that story on rather than these legions were wiped out from history before the Emperor even got the Imperium really going. So well, not going, but certainly before the Great Crusade really got into high gear. So it's one of those things. But the knowledge of the Fallen is a secret because the Dark Angels completely smothered that the Dark Angels had a schism. The fact that Chaos Space Marines exist cannot be covered up. And the Fallen are sort of one of the worst kept secrets out there. The Dark Angels know they exist, and admittedly, while they try and kill / mind wipe anyone who encounters them, they will miss. They will miss. So there are people who know of the Fallen. Gilliman probably knows because of Cypher. So it's kind of different with the Fallen because that's a specific group of Chaos Space Marines, not the concept and existence of all Chaos Space Marines, I would say. And they're also not the size of 9 legions. They're the size of half of one, maybe a full one now. I've had 1 vote for the pillar, a suggestion for the Orgu stones, but I don't know if I can count that as a vote. We'll give chat just a little bit more time. How much terrain do I have? This is it, actually. This altar is it. I'm planning to expand into my terrain a bit because I want to use it for my school Warhammer club if I can. Okay, so we've got a few votes for the pillar. All right, so that's what we'll do. So it's not, by the way, it's not just this. It's all 8 of these, and also both of these. So we've got a lot of this to do. Sorry, I don't know if you feel a little bit betrayed, but let's crack on and crack out the Drakenhof Nightshade. You think the Lost Primates were assassinated by pirates within the Imperium? Yes, the Emperor and his orders from down probably to Lehman Russ. So Gilliman won't be a target because no one is above him. There are no higher ups above Gilliman. Whereas the kill on the Lost Primarchs probably came from the Emperor. So there is no higher up to take Gilliman out. And it's not like there is anyone that could take Gilliman out in the Imperium anyway. The Assassinorum doesn't stand a chance, and there's no way the Space Wolves could be convinced. Yeah, true. The Custodes would have had a role in it as well, but yeah, they wouldn't be involved now. And why the Emperor did that? We will never know, and I don't think we ever should. Where are we? The route feel like they're kind of done with the whole Emperor's Executioner role. Yeah, Russ was not happy with it even by the time of the Horus Heresy. There's no way the Space Wolves would ever be used for that purpose again. Certainly not without Russ. Also, they have severely cheesed off the Inquisition with the whole Armageddon incident. So keep that in mind. I apologise. You're going to end up looking pretty much at nothing for most of the next hour while I just get these fine details. Because I've been warned repeatedly, don't do a heavy wash of anything over this white, you mad person. I've been warned repeatedly not to. So I'm just really putting the wash in the details, like the recesses of the arches and things like that. It's very minor what I'm actually doing, but hopefully it will just add to the realism and the effect of the Hessian stone. Yeah, like genuinely, that's all I've just done. I don't know how well that's going to show up. That's all I've done. I've put a bit of Drakenhof Nightshade in the recesses. That's it. So we will be here a while doing this. I did warn you. There are people in the Imperium who don't trust Guilliman. Yes, they don't. But there's a difference between don't trust him and don't realise he's the only way the Imperium survives and would have no way of assassinating him anyway. There's a difference. You think Gabriel Seth could get Guilliman killed? God, no. He wouldn't stand a chance. Do you think the Imperial Guard will get a game like what the Imperial Navy got with Battlefleet Gothic? It depends. A Total War style game doesn't really suit 40k because of the over-reliance on guns. I'm not sure what sort of style game you'd make to represent the grand strategy of playing a Astra Militarum force versus like a small skirmish team. I mean, also, yes, Dawn of War exists. Sorry, let's wind back. Is 40k approaching the end times? No. We all thought that they might, well, there was speculation that there may be a 40k end times after the fantasy one. And there is a crackpot theory in my head that they would have done it. But because of the ridiculous backlash that fantasy's end times received, they changed their mind, and hence we got the sort of mess that was Gathering Storm. It's tinfoil hat level stuff, but you know, maybe. But I will fully admit it's 89 to 99% tinfoil hat. If he truly teaches anything, anyone can be killed. Yes, Guilliman can be killed. Can he be killed by an agent of the Imperium? Probably not. He's not immortal, we know that. Fulgrim nearly killed him. But I don't think that the Assassinorum could ever stand a chance of taking him out, given an entire execution force failed to kill Horus by quite some stretch. Also, yes, Guilliman has already... Well, he lost to Magnus without the aid of the Sisterhood, let's be honest, he lost. But he... yeah. Why make the same mistake twice? Precisely. I mean, the Imperium is not exactly known for learning from its mistakes, but... I do not have a tinfoil hat, Ben, no. Okay, that's that done. I don't even think I'm not sure if I should edge highlight it with like a bright, with like Corax or Ceramite White maybe. But that's it. That's all I would do to that, because I don't want to add too much detail without, overdo it. Do you think aliens exist? Well, I would not rule it out. I think the odds of humanity being the only space-capable species in the entire universe is astronomically low. The odds of that are astronomical. But we've yet to find any evidence, and I mean hard, irrefutable, repeatable evidence of intelligent life. Though that is not to say that it hasn't evolved, because time dilation. We pick up a lot of the signals we receive are from millennia ago around the galaxy with our telescopes, because of the sheer distance the light that we receive has to travel. So whilst we haven't got proof of intelligent life, that's not to say it isn't out there. And I think the odds of there being none are seriously low, if not negligible. I was just talking about the logic that we cannot, the odds of us being alone in the universe are exceptionally low. Is that what, I didn't recognise the term Fermi paradox. I've not heard the term in a long time. Remind me again why people like painting white. Like seriously, why? Why do people paint white? Okay, I'll add gold to that. Okay. That's one. Yeah, time. Again, even if they exist at the same time as we do, by the time we get the signal, a signal that we could detect them, we'd probably be extinct. This is really slow going. Got 8 bloody pillars to do after this. Hate my life. The outcome is worth it. I don't know if it is. Like, I'm just painting some very wobbly blue lines. What time are we? 8:45. Okay. Been going for a little over an hour. Made some good progress. We finished the avatar, which was the main objective for tonight, was to finish the avatar of Khaine, and we've done that. I need to go back and do this one because they don't have to use radio based. If they use any electromagnetic waves to communicate, then we could detect it. Gamma, X, but due to the way that the waves behave, radio waves is best for long range communication. In terms of ways that could they communicate telepathically? Sure, if telepathy is a thing, but as far as we know, telepathy doesn't exist. And if it does, how do you detect it? Does Magnus know about Gilliman? Oh yes. Magnus fought Gilliman on Luna at the end of Gathering Storm 3, you may recall. Magnus had him banged to rights and all, but the Silent Sisterhood showed up and a Shadow Seer booped him into the webway. If you like. So with the war zones in the 9th Ed rulebook, will we be going back to them like with Vigilus? I don't think so. I think they were set up primarily to introduce the new Calgar and the new Abaddon for the case of Vigilus, and to introduce the other new characters in Psychic Awakening. I think that we're now done with those war zones. And they'll be mentioned, sort of like Armageddon is, but I don't think we'll be going back there in a hurry, in my personal opinion. What do you think about the interstellar theory of using gravitational waves as communication? We can detect those too. So again, if a gravitational wave was used to communicate and it was sent in our direction, we could pick it up with LIGO, which is the long base interferometry gravitational wave observatory, something like that. I forget exactly. It's an interferometer. I know it's an interferometer. I know that much. I did study a little. I didn't study LIGO, but I did hear about LIGO because it happened while we were at uni. Both LIGO's success and the black hole merger. We were in uni when they happened, so we heard about it in our department, being physicists and all. Oh God, am I going to have to paint into the recess of every individual cocking rune? Oh God. Shut up. I couldn't just leave them as plain white, could I? What's your theory on what happened to the Somnus Citadel between the end of the Heresy and the Restoration when the Eye opened? You mean the Great Rift? I assume it was decommissioned when the Sisterhood disbanded and then re-established when they reformed during the War of the Beasts, is what I assume happened. It's heavily implied someone attacked it in a mirror to the attack on the Lunar Gene Cults. I have missed that story, I'm afraid. I assume, though, that, well, after it was attacked, it was eventually re-established, because the Sisterhood probably still use it. I must have missed that story, I apologise. What faction would you join if you were living in the Imperium? God. As I stay out of the Imperium's way. Granted, living on an Imperial world is just a slow, painful death sentence, pretty much. Of all the factions to join, well, all of them will get you killed. Either through combat or just, your creation. But I honestly don't know. And I don't want to know. And I never want to have to find out. Okay, I've spent the last 3 minutes just doing that. Just painting into letter recesses. This is what you made me do. There was a vote. Democracy spoke. You can dilute shades with Lamian medium, and then you don't have to worry about using washes over white. Yes, but that would require me owning Lamian medium, and I've never bothered buying it because I've never had a need for it. Okay, trivia question from the voice in my ear. Let's turn that 40k question on its head and take it over to AOS. Which of the 8, we're going to go 8. Which of the 8 mortal realms would you like to live in? The catch with Heavens is Sigmar rules it with an iron fist and an iron boot. It is exceptionally oppressive, and chaos is still in it, is it? It's safer from chaos, but it ain't safe. The Khorne mostly invaded was the realm of fire. It was Akshi. And he only took over like a plateau. He didn't take over that much. Khorne was cool. He didn't take that much. Okay, life, death, fire, death, life. Oh, a sideways vote for Shadow. Oh god, I think this is bad now. Imagine when it gets to the 4 pillars that are actually fully built all the way up. They're twice as tall as this one. Such sad. Yeah, so my sort of temptation, if they'd let me in, would be the realm of light, because fractured as parts of it are, the Lumineth Realm Lords have got it sealed off and secure from chaos again, mostly. And it is a place of enlightenment. You've just got to be aware that your knowledge can stretch too far, and you've got to know your place and know your limits. Whereas the realm of fire, for example, is a place of live fast, die young. You burn brightly, but not for that long. Realm of beasts is savagery. The wildlife wants to eat you. The plant life wants to eat you. The earth wants to eat you. It's that sort of a place, and oryx are everywhere. The realm of metal is Tzeentch's kaleidoscopic nightmare fuel. Life is a good I would also say life, because, you know, healing magic. Sentient trees, that they're a bit spiteful. Several good cities to live in, like Hallowheart, not Hallowheart, Hammerhal, Gyra, the Living City, Greywater Fastness. There's some nice cities there. Shadow is just Trickster Central. It will kill you in 5 minutes. And Shyish is the realm of death. Either praise Nagash and die and serve Nagash, or have a horrible time waiting for Nagash. Sigmar with the 3 cities, yes, but Azir, he rules with an iron fist to try and keep chaos out. It's a realm of supreme order, by any means necessary. At least that's how the rulebook depicts it. Because despite Sigmar's efforts, chaos got in. How many cities are there? Unknown. A huge amount. In the rulebook, you can play as one of 6. Hammerhal, Hallowheart, Anvilgard, the Phoenicium, the Living City, Greywater Fastness. Oh, and another one, the Tempest Eye, as well. There might be one I'm missing, but I think that's all of them. Yeah, there are also many free cities that have just popped up all over the place. So, for example, Glimsforge in Shyish is a free city, though I'm not sure quite how safe it is anymore. So there's way more cities than sense in the realms. There are cities in the Webway in 40k, yes. For example, there was the city where the battle in Master of Mankind took place, though I forget its name off the top of my head. There was that city. Lethis, yeah, on Lake Lethis, yeah, you're right. There are so many free cities that if you looked around the literature, you could find probably dozens, and that would barely scratch the surface. It's not quite like Worlds in the Imperium, but it's a huge, huge number because the realms are vast, utterly vast. Which realm are the Ideneth in? So some of the Ideneth live in the realm of light, some live in the realm of life. Morfan, my enclave of choice, live in the realm of death. Fuektan live in the realm of fire. Domheim live on the back of a turtle from Discworld and move around. I think that's Domheim anyway. No, that's Briomdar, what am I saying? And they're in the realm of life at the moment. But they move around, some of them, and they are enclaves in most realms, particularly though light was their ancestral home because they were created by Teclis. Birmingham, the planet in 40k, is not a nice place. It's boring, it's grey, it's kind of a dump. Not that that's a... I wasn't going to make a knock on the actual real city of Birmingham, but I think one of the writers just had a bad time in Birmingham and decided to just slate it in the name of a boring 40k planet. Is there a city surrounding the Mirrored City? I believe Shadespire was the city. And that was that. There was just Shadespire and the whole city became the Mirrored City after the work of the Cataphragms in trying to unlock the secrets of death itself or whatever it was they were trying to do. Right, that's one. Look at the frick. Look at that. That's one. That's the shortest one. I warned you all. To be honest, it's already gone 9 o'clock. There's going to be a point where I'm just going to give up and do them off screen because it will take me like 2 hours to get through all this junk. It's going to take me absolutely friggin' ages. But I could probably, you know what? I'm going to leave that and I'm going to do probably some of those off screen. We'll see how far we go. Because what time are we? 9:05. So we've already had an hour and 40 odd minutes, or nearly an hour and 40 minutes. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stick my avatar to the recently washed thing. I might add a bit of Nuln oil to the skulls. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to have Nuln oil just to the skulls rather than the whole structure, because the skulls, you know, they're skulls. They're allowed to be a bit different colour. Do you think 40k has lost its sense of humour? No. It's less satirical now. Like, Grog Ironteeth and Captain Badrock in Farsight Empire of Lies were hilarious, in my opinion. They were very funny together. I think they're less satirical and the humour is a different tone, but I wouldn't say that it's lost its sense of humour. That would be going too far. Will the Emperor return one day? I don't think they will, for the sake of game balance and like the sake of the Imperium. I don't think they're ever going to bring the Emperor back. I'm not ruling. He will get a model for the Heresy. We know this because of Constantine Valdor's datasheet in 30k book 7. So we know he's coming, but that's for 30k, not 40k. I don't think he should return to 40k because it would just break the setting. Yeah, so Comorra is hell. The warp is literal hell. The Comorra is other hell. You don't want to go to Comorra if you can help it. Yeah, even if the Emperor was resurrected, we don't know what that would mean for the Golden Throne, the Astronomicon. We don't know what the Emperor's ability to get up off the Golden Throne would mean for the state of the Imperium. Aside from, you know, giving him the ability to talk, that's the main thing it would do. God, yeah, the Imperial Truth and the Imperial Cult. That would not end well. Right. That I'm calling done. So that's the actual conversion kit bash bit actually, you know, finished. I will pop a picture up on social media later to show that in full because it's a bit awkward to see in this lighting because it's a bit severe. But that I'm calling done and I'm happy with it. Whew. So since we've just done the avatar, you know what? I'm going to make an executive decision, and for the last hour of the stream, we're going to focus on one thing in particular, and that is the blood pool at the heart of the altar. So we had the actual temple bit done a while ago, so I'm just going to take all the pillars off so I can show you the bit. Question, a little bit stuck because of the washes. Washes make plastics sticky. Get off, get off, get off. No, blood for the bloody-handed god. There's a difference. So, at the centre of this Sigmarite dais, which is the terrain piece that we were working on in the first place, the centre of the pizza is this bit. This bit is going to be turned into a pool of blood. So if I go back to Kaz's original mock-up, I'll just show you what I mean. So you can see there that the central segment is painted red and with blood for the blood god to create a bloody effect, like a pool of blood, like a sacrificial pool of blood to be a sacrifice to Khaine and the Avatar. So that's what we're going to work on to finish this stream out. I have a plan. It's not much of a plan, but it's a plan. The plan was pretty much, the advice I've had is paint some white streaks onto that segment and then basically just layer it with blood for the blood god until happy. But because it's a dark surface, I'm not sure how effective that's supposed to be. So I'm willing to take suggestions on how to do this from chat as well, because, you know, chat knows more about painting than I do most of the time. I'm really proud of that avatar. I'm really proud of that. Granted, it's taken me, what did that avatar take me? 3 hours? Because the stream went on for like 3 hours and something on Sunday. but we didn't spend the whole time on the avatar, and then I did some off screen as well. So to be honest, that could easily have been 4 hours work just on that avatar, but I am really proud of it in the end. So that's a win. What's your favourite Space Marine chapter? Generally I lean toward the Black Templars, not for their ideology, more for their aesthetic and their unique heroes. I like the Crimson Fists. They are a good chapter, in my opinion. I like Pedro Cantor. Not sure, to be honest, on what I would say my favourite is, but probably I would lean towards the Crimson Fists for ideology and Black Templars for aesthetics. Adding white streaks and other colour variations will change the intensity of the blood effect on top. Only thing to keep in mind is the most extreme colour changes in the deeper part. So if we go back to the pizza, I should paint white like into this entire outer rim, and then into some of these deeper sections, like these triangle divots, and they should then go with the white to get the deepest colour change. Whereas some of this other stuff maybe could be given a bit of grey. It's like a grey dry brush over top to then wash over, but I want to keep that purple effect as well. So would that work, or am I going about that completely backwards? So let's get those daughters out of the way. Exactly, you can dry brush over with grey and then maybe a wash of Druchii to keep the violet. But that's what I had before. I had grey and I washed it Druchii violet, and that's what I got. So I'm kind of going back on myself if I do that. It's like going round in circles. But keep in mind, red and violet will be quite close to black. Yes. Okay, so I'm just going to do a couple of tests, like spots of blood for the blood god. Just like spots of it onto this purple, just to see what it looks like. The suggestion says to get the most intense colour change, put them in the deeper regions. I've heard in passing that not a single Slash demon has been present in any of the AOS books from 2015 to now. That is not true. There are short stories, for example, in Oaths and Conquest that have Slaaneshi demons in them. They exist. They are in the books. Okay, yeah, I am definitely going to probably need the white. Okay, so I'm just going to do a white sort of dry brush over the top section, and then paint it in properly. Oh, maybe like painting grey in the darker regions, in the deeper regions, because that doesn't really show much up. So dry brush, Corax white, I think we'll go with rather than Ceramite, because that's just overkill. Oh yeah, I could use Caribou Crimson in some areas, that's also a point. I've just sort of, this is just sort of, I've got to tinker with it, but also like do it live, so it's a bit. sorry about the noise. I'm mainly just dry brushing Sigendil, which is what this star I think is supposed to represent, is Sigendil. Because that's the most raised region of all. I think the blood will also act as a shade effect, so maybe try a section without any shades and see if you like it. I haven't got one. So I've just put white over that central region, the central star, 'cause it's the most raised area, in the hope that that creates sort of a more vibrant red compared to the deeper sections. And I might just bust out my Astronomican grey, just slightly darker than that, and go over the main central circle. Do you think we'll get a book series on the Scouring? I think it is possible, but I don't think it's urgent. What with especially Dawn of Fire coming out, I think it's not urgent. Does anyone find these streams remarkably calming? Well, I admit they're certainly not the most high-octane things, but people have told me they can use 40k stories to fall asleep, so I suppose maybe I'm just the sort of person to help you chill out at the end of a long, stressful day. Who the God knows. Yeah, I think Dawn of Fire is going to be alright. Obviously, we have yet to see it. I've seen an extract from it, but I think that they've got a plan. They've got some editorial oversight, which will really help the project, particularly once it starts getting passed around people who aren't Guy Haley and Nick Khaine, who have got said oversight. I think it will really help those authors just keep from going too far off the rails. So yeah, I'm quietly hopeful for Dawn of Fire. I will try and pick it up. I didn't get the limited edition, obviously, but when it comes out, I will try and pick it up from my local store, and then try and read it, and we can talk about it on a podcast maybe. Probably not going to do like a book review stream. That would be a bit much, because I'd have to like pretty much do a live reading at that point, and we'll be here all year. But yeah, so just gonna let that dry for a minute. I know it's a dry brush, but I'm gonna leave that to dry for a moment. In fact, I'm gonna take this time to pour myself another drink. So I'm gonna take a quick break, rest my voice, pour myself another drink. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Okay, and we are back for the second, well, last stretch of this stream. I poured myself another drink, taking a breath, taking some photos of the avatar, which I can share on social media later. They will also be in the Discord server if you'd like to look at them. So, what did I miss from chat? What are your 40k and AOS unpopular opinions? Legiones sounds better than Legiones. Fight me. That seems to tick off everyone in the comments that I say Legiones, and it ticks off everyone, but I think it sounds so much better. Who is the next loyalist Primarch to return? It's probably the Lion. Right, on we go. So hopefully now I'm going to get a big brush and use Blood for the Blood God and just layer this up a few times. See where you're coming from, but no, is it? I personally think it does because it fits into the Imperium's aesthetic, for me, personally. Because the Imperium has this sort of faux Latin aesthetic going on all the time. They borrow from Greece and Rome constantly with their naming conventions. With like Centurions, Legions, Peltas, Hoplites, all of that stuff. They borrow so heavily. I almost expect they would use the faux Latin pronunciation because it's just them. And I personally just think it sounds better. I know everyone clearly doesn't agree with me. I get yelled at all the time in the comments, but I think it does, personally, and I think it sounds better. But they say it's an unpopular opinion for a reason. We call them unpopular opinions. Okay, let's see how this looks. This is going to take about 4 coats. That's what I've discovered. This is going to take about 4 coats. To get the desired depth of blood effect that we want. Legions is the anglicised. Legio and Legiones is the Latin version. That's why I use it, because I think it sounds better. I appreciate, I say, not everyone likes it, but I do. So, like I say, unpopular opinion. But that is my unpopular opinion of the week. Oh, actually, it's the unpopular opinion of the last 3 years, roughly. I don't really have an AOS unpopular opinion because, well, I don't think I've really got much of an opinion. I am of the opinion that Tyrion is getting an army. I personally think that will be a thing, but I would understand if they chose not to give Tyrion an army. I think that they laid out the foundations for it nicely, but they don't have to. I don't think that's an unpopular opinion, it's just an opinion. Okay, so I'm going to leave that to dry now. That's coat 1. I'm going to need probably about 3 coats. So this is what it looks like after 1 relatively thick coat of Blood for the Blood God. It's still clearly got, the white bits are very clearly visible, so they haven't turned red. But that sort of is where we are after 1 coat. So just leave that to dry. And in the meantime, I'm going to put on Twitter the picture of the avatar of Khaine. So what I'm going to do, just while that dries. Lore-wise, Slaanesh is the most important thing to ever happen to 40k. I think that it's very important that Slaanesh happening is very important because it allows the Eldari to fall and clears the way for the Great Crusade. Yes, it's important. Without Slaanesh, the Age of Strife doesn't happen, the Fall of the Eldari doesn't happen, and probably by extension, the Unification Wars and the Great Crusade don't happen. So, yes. Is it the most important thing? I can't be 100% because obviously there's so many dominoes there. Okay, so I've just tweeted out, well, I'm just tweeting out, there you go, it's just sent. So I've just tweeted out the completed avatar pictures. So you can have a look at that on Twitter if you would like. Ask but you missed it, so I ask again. What crazy nightmare stuff do you think the Dark Eldar are going to get this edition? God knows, don't want to know. Bear in mind they haven't had anything new since like 5th or 6th edition. So realistically, I think they'll get some cool stuff. Whether it'll be utter nightmare fuel, I don't know. We shall find out. It's hard to tell when this is dry because it's got that sheen on it. It's really hard to tell. It's not dry, but it's close. They had the Incubi redesign, yeah. That wasn't brand new, but it was a redesign, so yeah, fair enough. I would love to see Vect back, though. I agree with that. I would love to see Vect back. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Very warm, a bit tired, but I'm good. Cracking on. Got a couple of lore videos done this week, so that's the next couple of weeks. 40k stories sorted, and I'm working most of the way through a big script for that. Hesprax never went away. She's always been around. She just she's getting an updated model by the looks of it. She never went away. She stayed in the Codex along with Drazhar and Rakar. She never left. So returning is slightly the wrong word. She's getting redone, but she never left. Yeah, that's what you meant. I thought it is what you meant, but it's just like we're talking about new stuff. They don't quite qualify for new stuff because, well, they're not new. They're a redesign. Yeah, this is coming together. I have no idea on Shyish Purple. I've never used it. I'm sorry. So no comment from me on Shyish Purple. But chat, if you know much about Shyish Purple, do get involved with that question. The Drukhari do need more characters. They had like 8, but they lost Vect, Malice, Sathanix, Sliskus, Karadruak. They lost them all from the 5th edition Codex to the 6th edition one, which is a real shame. But here we are. Sorry, 5th to 7th. I hope that, yeah, I think a lot of characters will get an update. I don't know how many. I don't know if it's most, if not all, but certainly some will. I think that's a fair suggestion. So I'm trying to get this to dry in a hurry so that we can crack on with it. Excuse me. Right, that's dry enough. I can't be bothered to wait anymore. Do, 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 do. Okay, that there. Things I've also got to fill in almost this outer ring with blood for the blood god to try and create the idea that the pool is, you know, reasonably full rather than just being a layer. So I've got to fill in these cogs as well somewhat. Do, 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 do. Okay, getting there, getting there. I've almost ended up stippling it on rather than doing it in streaks. Okay. So that's where we are now. Second coat. Most of the white streaks are underneath. They're mostly gone now. They're still visible to me. You probably can't pick them up on camera. So I'll probably do a third coat. And then depending on the shimmer, I might add a touch of hard coat in a few places just to add a bit of shimmer to it. The concept of empathy is aliens to the Drakari. That is exactly what they're like. They are completely aloof. They don't care about the consequence of their actions because they don't affect them. They just get regenerated by the homunculi whenever they need it, if they're rich enough. So it doesn't really matter. With regards to doing like contrast over metal, well, when I did my, no, this is a technical, not a contrast, but I did my avatar by doing Blood for the Blood God watered down over the top of Leadbelcher. And the main thing I would say is you might not, I would do 2 thin coats. I know, memes, but I would genuinely go for 2 thin coats. Don't overdo it the first time. So a very thin layer of it, see what you like, and then do another one if you think it's going in the right direction. But definitely don't go over too much and too thick because you will lose the effect, as Lou Fang there says. Starting to come together, this. It is starting to come together. And then I'll paint gold around the outside at another date. What are we? 20 to 10. Okay, yeah, I think we're going to get this finished. So I'm going to call it now 20 minutes till stream's end. 20 minutes. So that way. 20 minutes to stream's end. We're going to end at 10 o'clock UK. So that is the plan. Just gotta wait for this flipping Blood for the Blood God to dry again. I think we're probably gonna end up needing, I'm gonna do a lot of these Drakenhof Nightshade washes off screen. I think I'll do that between streams. So I might not stream again until the weekend because I've got to record an episode podcast this on Friday. So I might not stream again until like Saturday or maybe Sunday. But I will do all of this filling in the pillars nonsense off screen. I'll do that if I've got a particularly boring hour in my day. I will do it then. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll do that off screen, but the Blood of the Blood God we're going to do here on screen, on stream, not on scream. What on earth are you saying, Tactica? Well done. I think we're probably going to need 2 more streams to finish it. One to do the detailing, like the gold, and then one to do the fire effects on the pillars and the braziers. The avatar is, I wouldn't say the avatar is a column fellow, no. Neither solemn nor calm, nor on a column, they're on a plinth. So, no, I would say none of the above, unfortunately, but good effort, full marks for effort. You dry? No. This is taking too long. There is a joke there. It's a play on words because the avatar is stood on a column, but we sometimes say, "Oh, what a solemn fellow!" It's sort of an old thing that you might say in Britain. So I think that's the joke. It's a pun, a failed pun, but a pun. So yes, that's what I think that was. That's what I've gone with. The problem is, because I'm making this pool, it's taking ages to dry. Ages to dry. So, Blood of the Blood God has proved its worth, and it will definitely get used again, like on the, you might say, well, for example, the, don't drop the Hag Queen. The Witch Brew carried by the Hag Queen, I'll probably paint with Blood of the Blood God rather than just straight up red this time. I wouldn't call it highbrow British humour, it's just puns. It's just puns. How highbrow you think puns are, that's up to you, but it's basically just puns. This is taking too long. Genuinely, I am very tempted to go and get the hairdryer, but the problem is if I get the hairdryer, it will just blow the blood all over the place, and that's a terrible idea. I just want it to dry, damn it. Dark red lenses and eyes. Okay, I'll keep that in mind as well. Because I didn't do the eyes on the avatar in the end. Because, you know, it's a statue. Why would it have animated eyes? Oh, wait, it can come to life. But no, I've not given it eyes. And I don't think GW ever did either. So it's fine. Hairdryer from below wouldn't really work either because, well, it's thin, but it's not evenly laid in any way. It would just, it wouldn't get the heat through and it would warp the plastic, I think, before it dried the paint. But it is looking good. It's looking well. It's coming together nicely. It's just got to, I mean, dry. Just dry, damn it. But that's where we are with it. Again, I don't know how well that's showing up on screen. But that's 2 coats. I think we're going to need a third just to finish it off. Hack. Put the lamp above it. So yeah, the lamp is really, really hot at the moment, so I might actually just do that. because the lamp is hot. People joining the stream right now must be like, what the heck are they doing? Ooh. Don't get paint on the lamp. It's a nice lamp. You know what? Will there be blood spools outside of the pool? The intention is no, but I might. We'll see how we go at the end when I've done the gold, sort of where we are with that. Yeah, I've done this too early. I just want to hold the brush over it now and just let the paint fall off the blooming brush. Just to touch up the bits that are a bit less bloody. Sorry, focus mode again. Just trying to get this right because I want to create the right amount of depth to this blood pool without sacrificing all of the detail. Okay, I think I'm as good as I'm gonna get with that. As good as I'm gonna get. Because I don't want to be scraping my brush across it because that will just displace all the paint and it will ruin it. So, actually if I lift this up it's going to completely distort the view. So you know what, I don't think it's really safe for me to show you here what I've done because that will involve tipping up the dace and that will ruin the overall effect because all the blood will spill and go everywhere, and that's not what we want. Oh, sorry, the blood paint. I should make that clear to the advertisers and the monetizers on YouTube. It's blood paint, it's not actual blood. Please do keep calm and don't demonetize me anymore. Yeah, I may do another coat like tomorrow morning. Just depends on how it dries now and how it properly sets. But I'm quite happy with that overall. And yeah, I will, again, put a picture up somewhere, probably when I announce the next stream. So, we've got 10 minutes before I want to wrap up for the evening because it's coming up on 10 o'clock. So, if chat has any last questions, things to discuss, or other things they want to do, then now is the time. Chat, go for it. So, I'm just going to spend some time while you do come up with something to say. Excuse me, reassembling this this temple alt thingy. as I did rip it apart in order to do that step. Yeah, I might do some blood on those steps as well. See how I go. Slide. There we go, thank you. Okay, so that's reassembled, and I will take a photo of that later. Lamp off. There we go. I think that's been a pretty productive stream, I would say. We've managed to finish off the avatar, which is on Twitter now, if you want to go and have a look at it. And we've also managed to pretty much complete the blood pool at the center of the altar, and we've made a little start on the wash for the white Hessian stone, though I'm going to do that off screen because it will take me about an hour and a half to do all the pillars. We'll be here for ages, and it takes ages, and it makes me have to be really precise. So I'm going to do that off screen because if it's all the same to you, you don't want to sit here and watch me do that for an hour and a half. Let's be completely honest with ourselves here. But we've made some good progress. Once I've done that stuff off screen, I think we're probably going to need 2 more streams to finish off the project. So that will be painting all the trim on the top of the dais, and then painting all the fire effects. So we've got to do all of these details here on this piece. So this stuff down here has got to be done. I've got to do the comets and the metal ring on the top of the altar, and then I'm going to do the braziers and the fire pits as well. But we're nearly there. We're getting very close to done. I think we're certainly past the halfway stage, and the avatar, because we really put a lot of effort into the avatar, I think it's going to be a great centerpiece. And I'm not going to actually glue it on to the altar, so I can use it as a separate piece or as an objective marker, something like that. So yeah, there we are. You won't see it very well because it's a bit dark at that angle right now, but that's it. Better picture is on Twitter for you. You can go and have a look at that. Thank you to everyone who's helped me with this, helping me out with the blood for the blood god over metal, helping me out with the green and getting that jade marble-like effect. It's been a real team effort to get that done, and I'm really pleased with the end result, so thank you. Thank you very much for all of your help with that, everybody. Really do feel that was worth it after the work we put in on Sunday and tonight. So it's good. And yeah, I think we might just get in under 2.5 hours because I haven't really got that much more to say and chat seemed to have gone quiet. I think it will end up being a really great terrain piece. Just looking at it right now, it's not done. It's clearly not done, but the blue wash on the side pillar has definitely worked. Once we add in the detailing and the fire, I think we're pretty much there. And conveniently, we know Morgwaith's Blade Coven are coming out in a week or so. They're out next Saturday. They're on pre-order this week to come out the week after. So we know that they're going to be out soon, and then they will form the final models for this. I don't think I'll glue them to it, but I can use Morgwaith and her Blade Coven as the sort of guardians of the shrine in context and in canon, if you like, because I love that Hag Queen miniature, but I also want to use it as a Hag Queen, so I don't want to just glue it down to this altar, especially if I'm not gluing down the avatar. But with all that said, thank you to everyone who's come out tonight to join us for this stream. If you haven't already joined the Discord, there is a link. If you just scroll up through chat, you will find a link to the channel's Discord server. One of the mods may post one in the interim, but they may not, so just scroll up and you will find an invite link. You'll need to go through our sort of vetting procedure, read the rules, and make sure that you've got that in your head before we let you in, just for safety reasons. You know, it's not a mark against anyone, but it's just what we do. I'm going to be sticking around in voice chat for a short while tonight, so if people want to join me and chat a bit in the server, then you're welcome to do so. But with all that said, thank you very much for watching. This has been Tactica Imperialis, and this has been our third Altar of Khaine painting live stream, completing the avatar and the most important part, the sacrificial pool. Thank you very much for watching, everybody, and good night.